Hello, dear community, and welcome back to Darwin's Circle Conference. We have big honor to have Jeff Jarvis with us, the Director of Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at Craig Newmark School of Journalism. And let me rephrase that, the Coryphée, the worldwide Coryphée of media innovation. Jeff, thank you for being with us.
Vielen Dank.
Jeff, I'm actually also teaching at the University for Applied Science, and I'm teaching media innovation. I have my next lecture next week. Give me some stuff. What are the hot topics around the world in our business?
I would start here. Don't lecture.
Okay.
Instead, listen. I think that's what we're learning to do in the journalism business and in business as a whole. Is we thought for too long we put out a product called mass media, and everybody should use the same thing because that's the way the scale worked. Now, no. Now I think that we have to listen to the public, listen to the market, and we have to. That's a new skill for us. We're not very good at that.
So should we develop our media companies around the communities that give us feedback? What's the current approach? How can we develop new businesses in media business?
I think that's exactly what we have to do. I started a new degree in social journalism at CUNY, which means that you start with the community, not with the content. Because we normally tell our students, give me a story idea. You know what's going on. Well, no, I don't know what's going on. So go listen to the community, observe the community like an anthropologist. Watch what they do, understand their needs, reflect that back, and then you can start to say what journalism, what services they need. And that may or may not be stories. It may be education. It may be events. It may be all kinds of other things. Commerce, I don't know. It depends on what the community needs and what you learn they need.
Do you think we should develop full-service media companies around our core content and journalist activities, like verticals and services that also serve our audiences and communities that might not be connected to media business as we know it?
Yes, I think you have to end up there, but you may not start there.
Yes.
You may start just doing one thing, just doing podcasts, right? And then you grow from there. We have a bad tendency in media to look for a messiah who's just going to save us, right? Tablets will save us. Paywalls will save us. Native advertising will save us. Well, there is no messiah. They're all false messiahs. The truth is we have to have many skills. We have to do many things to get many revenue streams. So advertising is still going to be around. We need it. We need to reinvent advertising so it's not so destructive. Subscription, maybe, but everybody thinks that they deserve subscription money. I'm not so sure they're all going to get it. Membership, which is a whole different thing of really feeling you belong to this community and it brings value. Contribution, which has value. If you look at places like Patreon, people are giving money to creators they like on YouTube. Commerce is huge. The New York Times bought Wirecutter, which rumor had it was netting about $10 million a year from selling merchandise. Events, Texas Tribune does events that are very successful.
Marketplaces?
Marketplaces, exactly. So I think these are all opportunities to get revenue from everywhere you can, which means that it's even more complicated than it used to be, right? Here at Darwin Circle, I had a media executive, I won't say who, turned to the two platforms on the stage, Google and Facebook, and said, well, we'd be okay if it weren't for you, if you weren't here. And I said, you can't wish the internet away. We have a new reality, and the job is a lot harder, and the rewards are going to be smaller than they were, but we got to do what we got to do.
And I even think I would even challenge the statement that you just quoted. We started 4 years ago as brutkasten, as a media publisher, and without Facebook and Google, we would not have been able to grow this company to where it is today.
Exactly. It's the big old media companies that resent the fact that now new voices can be heard. And it's not just in media companies, to use the American example, because that's what we do. It's because of media that we had the Me Too movement that led to a major star going to jail yesterday. It's because it was the courage of a woman to come forward, but the support she got was from social media. It's because of the internet that Black Lives Matter could grow the way it did. We have something happening now in the U.S. where living while black, that white people are calling the police on black people for doing things like barbecuing. It's been happening for a century. But now, because of social media, people who were never heard in media, whose story was never told, can now get their story out. So all the whining we have about how, oh, the internet is ruining everything, Facebook's ruining the world, no. It's enabling new voices and new companies to start, and the old ones don't like it.
The old ones say, we want at least the level playing field. Is that something that you would agree on?
I hear that phrase, level playing field, all the time in Europe. And what it tends to mean is that it is publishers using their political capital to try to get regulators to create protectionist regulation and legislation against the platforms. And I said to one of them a few years ago, who from a conservative company, politically conservative, I said, shouldn't you want less regulation? Isn't that what conservatives do? Well, no, he wants more regulation on his competitors. That's not a level playing field. That's just protectionism, and protectionism is no strategy for the future.
But if somebody was to demand less regulation for themselves as well, like maybe Google and Facebook are less regulated and not seen as media company, would that be justified?
Yeah, I think that's what I said to this publisher, is that if you try to reduce the regulation, that's a level playing field that works. And mind you, I sound like I'm a conservative now. I'm a Hillary Clinton Democrat. I'm anti-Trump. I'm sorry, world, for what's happening. But I do think that a lot of the regulation of the internet in Europe has had harmful, unintended consequences. And so there I agree that we should wait and watch first and let things develop. GDPR starts at a good motive, but it's badly executed. In Germany, the Netz-der-Gay law, the hate speech law, means that it's killing satire in Germany. The right to be forgotten only gave Google more power. These are regulations that I don't think really help the internet and help society. They are efforts by politicians to help legacy institutions.
Okay. Do you think that, I don't know, regulation in this field, also in Europe, so to say, is stopping our innovation in this field?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's not just that, though. I think that, pardon me for this, but there's a cultural problem in Europe of a fear of failure. Whereas in America, we do everything too much. We go overboard with failure. We fetishize failure. We brag about failure. Well, failure is a process of learning. And so I think that there is some fear of risk in Europe. That's part of the problem. The other is, I think there is a reliance on government support through both funds and regulation. And so, yeah, I'm a little worried about that. I think that, that Europe needs to invest in itself. I hear all the time, we discussed it here at Darwin Circle this morning, that companies in Europe can get friends and family and first round innovation money in Europe, but when it comes time to get the big money, they go to America.
Yes.
I met last week with 3 really, really good companies from the Bayern Media Lab. And typical American that I am, I told them all, you should be doing this and this and this, you should expand. They acted more like Mittelstand. They were, no, this is what we do. Now, they were right. They were absolutely right that they should concentrate on what they do best. You teach innovation too. So you've got to find the thing you do best. But then you've got to have some real ambition, audacious ambition to where you could grow once you succeed at the first thing. And I tended to hear from companies in Europe that they start small and they stay small because they argue, oh, Europe's small. No, the ideas can be huge.
I mean, Tel Aviv and the Israeli companies start even smaller than if you compare it to Europe, but they grow it globally.
Exactly. And I think that there's that opportunity here. So at a panel this morning, I kept arguing to the Europeans that this is a time of huge opportunity, right? The UK has stepped on its own foot with Brexit. In the US, Trump is god-awful and protectionist and isolationist, and the tariffs. Yes, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. That's where Europe could be stepping in as a voice of certainty. And I don't see it happening as much as I think it should.
You are very active in bridging the both worlds, let's say, of media, established media companies and the platforms. Is that one approach to, let's say, scale the business, to get together and do business together?
I try to. It's not always a popular position, but I've argued for a long time that we have no choice but to work with the platforms. The platforms generally, I think, are good. But they also do bad things, and they also don't always think about us, and so we need to try to convince them and work with them. And I think it's possible, especially now. Given all the pressure that's out there, I see the opportunity for a flight to quality. Google last April said that they would, because of all the junk that's been on the internet, and mind you, I was dogmatic about the value of openness on the internet. I believe strongly in that, and I still do. But I didn't see, and the platforms didn't see, that kind of openness inevitably leads to manipulation. Bad actors, or economically motivated spam, psychologically motivated trolls, and politically motivated Russians these days. And so, I think there's an opportunity for this flight to quality where Google said that they were going to account for the authority, reliability, and quality of sources in search results. Facebook says they're going to pull back into the service quality news, and we have to help them decide what quality is. Twitter is worrying about the quality of the public conversation. This is a big opportunity to work with the platforms to help them understand what quality is.
But we're still at the stage where their algorithms cannot differentiate between that. Do you think they're going to reach that stage?
Yeah, I think they are. They're asking for help.
Okay.
And I've heard this myself. And in full disclosure, I received money from Facebook at my school, not myself personally, to work on some of these problems.
Please do that, because I think it's immense opportunity also for the established media companies to use these platforms to expand their reach at low costs.
Exactly, and it's not just reach, too. It's also about the relationship. On the stage here at Darwin Circle, the executive from Springer talked about the need for the relationship with the individual consumer.
Engagement.
And ORF said the same thing. We in media kind of blew that, right? Because we put out mass media products, and we just treated everybody all the same, and we didn't need to know you because we expected you all to use our product. The platforms understood big, giant Google, big, giant Facebook knows me as an individual. My local paper does not. It still treats me like a member of the mass. So we got behind there, and we need to come up with new skills around user profiling, around relevance. Now, GDPR gets in the way somewhat, but we'll figure that out.
If your students would ask you, Professor, where do we start our new businesses these days, what would you advise them?
I don't know. I'm too old. I'm not sure. I think if I were a European, I think that there are opportunities in Datenschutz and data protection because this has become the headquarters for it. So what opportunities can you build around that? I would see opportunities to build things like marketplaces for personal data, protection structures of personal data. I think there's opportunity there. Obviously, there's opportunity in machine learning and AI. We don't even know where that goes yet. I don't know. I suppose I should salute the flag of blockchain. Yeah. Distributed systems, I think, will matter. But I also think there's huge opportunity to be had in small communities.
Can blockchain help us detecting fake news?
We don't know yet. I think there's an opportunity. Here's what I think we can do. I think we can worry about the source and the provenance of something, so that if someone wants to look up where that photo came from, we need to provide better tools. Right now on Google, I can go and I can look up a photo and find similar photos. I would love Google to say, here's the first time we saw that photo. Where did it come from? Where did this information come from? And so I think we could have chains of provenance that would help us. It won't kill fake news, but it's a tool that can be used by journalists, sometimes by the public, and also by platforms.
Awesome. Maybe final question, since we mentioned blockchain, let's go to AI. We spoke to an IBM manager a few weeks ago, and he said he believes Austria should focus on applying AI, not developing its own. And there are some other people in Austria that think this would bring us to a technological slavery. Do you think that Austria and Europe have to develop their own technology, their own AI, if they want to be competitive on the world, on the global scale?
I think AI is in very early days. And so I think that there's an opportunity, I still think there's an opportunity to build your own. Going to the media view, which we have, I'm fond of saying that after movable type was developed by Gutenberg in about 1450, the first newspaper was not created for 150 years, for a century and a half. We don't know what the internet is yet. We don't know what AI and machine learning is and can do yet. We're at the very early stages. So I think it is far too soon to say it's too late.
Thank you for your time, Jeff. It was amazing and awesome talking to you. We could be talking to you for another week. Thank you for your time and all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. We're going to be coming back in approximately an hour. Stay tuned and we'll see you later.